Hello, I am Everett DePangher, and I am a candidate for uh, delegate to the American Solidarity Party National Convention from Lower South region. So if you are in Oklahoma, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, or if you're a fellow Arkansan, then you have the opportunity to vote for me. And I encourage you to put me on the top line of your ballot. I have tried to provide as much information as I can for in my candidate statement, my written candidate statement, and I have also written 3 resolutions, which I've submitted so that they become available as part of the digital packet of materials that you'll be receiving. So I'm going to try and not be too redundant of all of that. Let me just take a minute to introduce myself, and then a couple minutes to talk about what I see as the 2 most important issues at the convention, among a lot of other lesser issues that are important, and that, as I said, I try to talk about elsewhere. So I have been the Arkansas coordinator for the National Committee since 2020. I was a secretary to the 2020 and 2022 conventions and a delegate to the 2021 convention. So I am an active member, and I very much try to keep up with the news and the highways and byways of the party. Let me start with the biggest issue that I think is in front of the convention this year, and that is the lack of functioning of the convention itself. We have a lot of good things going on in our party. We have a cash reserve that's now in the 6 digits, which is fantastic. We've seen some improvements in the operations of the National Committee, which is fantastic. So we're doing some good stuff. But one thing that's lagging is the convention itself. And as someone who has been involved in previous conventions, I can tell you that we struggle to get done what we need to get done. As you may be noticing, as you just decide how to cast your vote, there's a lot of members who a lot of candidates for delegate who are not giving you a lot of information. I've already seen a number of candidates who didn't even attend their forum speaking opportunity. I don't know yet how many will not even submit a candidate statement in writing, but historically some of them don't even do that. And then those who do, a chunk of them, when it comes to specific questions, will just say, "Oh, I support, I support the values of the party," or "I'm gonna think about this and decide later," or I'll just be an open-minded person and hear all sides of the issue. Well, those aren't really answers and they don't help you decide your vote. So, and I'm trying through everything that I'm providing through the campaign to answer as many of those questions as possible. But so first of all, we have an issue of the representativeness of the delegates of the membership, because frankly, a lot of members don't even know what the delegates believe on things. And because we have a complex ranked choice voting system for this election, that really muddles the reasoning of the members for electing the delegates that they do, right? A delegate might win because one person put them on the top of their ballot for a couple a couple reasons, but then they get some value from having been on the fourth rank of some other member's ballot for other reasons. And then there's another person who put two members who put them a second on their ballot for different reasons from each other. And so none of this really comes together into a clear picture of what the membership want. So that's one of the first issues that we face is that there's a real question about the ability of the convention to act for the membership. Next, we have the convention's just overworked. There's a lot of delegates. When I served in 2021, it was exhausting. I was completely exhausted afterwards. I'm by no means the only delegate who reports this. It's a brutal job. There are good candidates who stay out of the race, or good potential candidates who stay out of the race because of that, because they can't find childcare to be able to take as much time off from their lives as they need to, and so on. So it's grueling as it is, and and we also have a convention that's not built well for communication and deliberation. So we have a few weeks before the election when the delegates can negotiate among each other. That can be positive, but for not great reasons, there are a chunk of delegates who, as a matter of sort of principle, refuse to participate in that process. So then we get to the convention itself, which generally is just one weekend. This year it's 2 weekends, but the second one is mostly just a gathering of fun and marketing related events in Texas, which is fine in and of itself, but it doesn't help the delegates any. And so we basically have one weekend, and there's a unwillingness to even use the weekend. So last year, delegates met on Friday evening and then through Saturday, and then voted to take Sunday off, leaving the convention to close with incomplete business still on its agenda. And the year before that, there was incomplete business at the end of the convention too. So we have a structural problem of getting things done. Now, on top of all of that comes that this year in 2023 is the quadrennial convention. And under the bylaws, there is it's by no means mandatory, but there is a bit of structure in the bylaws that encourages review of the platform at the quadrennial convention. And there has been a group of people within the party who have been very emphatic through the last 3 conventions that we should not that we should not do any work on the platform on those other conventions, because we should save it all for 2023. That's been a real mantra. Do it in 2023. It's been a real mantra within some in the party. And that was designed to be a time-saving device to cope with the already overburdenedness of the previous convention. Well, now 2023 has arrived, and we have not scheduled extra time to deal with the enormous project of the platform. And there's just some people are expecting us to just do the platform. And I mean, let's keep in mind, the platform is, our statement of public policy about everything, about how society works, about how government works, about how international affairs work. And when you have a project that can entail everything, right? every single plank in the current platform, plus every single hypothetical additional plank that could be added to the platform, you are dealing with a massive project. And I am here to be honest that the idea that given the current structure of the convention, that we are going to take on extra work of that magnitude is ridiculous. It is not going to happen well at all. So what I and some other candidates have done is we have formed the a la carte caucus. And it is committed to allowing the members to, just like in an a la carte arrangement, not be in, not just get, a little short list of predetermined meals, but to actually customize your meal, or in this case, your platform, in a way that actually reflects your values. And what we are doing is we are putting forth an amendment to the bylaws that will move responsibility for the platform from the convention to the membership directly through the states. So going forward, what would happen is if enough states, and all the whole text of this is in, should be in your packet. So, feel free to look at the details there. But the essence of it is that if enough states decide to propose a platform amendment, then we would have a membership vote at the next party election, and the members could vote up or down that particular amendment and any other amendments that are ready for a vote. This does several things. One is it eliminates this concept of dealing with all of the platform all at once. Okay? We would just be addressing individual planks on an as-needed basis. So when something arises, then we could deal with that particular plank. So for instance, the Ukraine war, which occurred in a way that maybe the party would not have anticipated the need to have a particular policy about it before it happened. But once it happened, then maybe, I'm not saying the party should or should not do this, but maybe that would be something that the party would be interested in adding a plank about. And so then it could conduct, at the next election, it could deal with that particular issue. So we have an individualization of the focus on individual planks. And then we also have a much more deliberative process. So it's not all going to be resolved in a portion of one weekend. Maybe if somehow people can carve out some time in that already packed weekend to do it. Rather, it'll take its own time. The states can go back and forth with drafts. We can have guest speakers come in. The people that are advocating before it, the members who are advocating an amendment can go around to different state meetings and interact with people from other states and get to network that way. And we can have a slow, organic communication. We can also have just people who have naturally better knowledge of a topic be the ones to take the lead, right? The idea that the same delegates should speak for all of us about, wind farming policy should also be the same delegates who speak for us about our policy toward the Korean Peninsula. That's very strange. And so what this does is it allows, on that individual basis, that the people who naturally have the best things to say will rise to the forefront for that occasion and get to share their thoughts if they want to do so. And then finally, it just puts to rest this joke that somehow the convention, which is pretty much stumbling along as it is, can handle all of this extra stuff. So that is what we are doing. And we are also committed to enforcing a pause on platform activity until we make that change. So we are voting against all platform amendments, not because they're bad, not because the people who have written them have failed to reflect or failed to do their work in the drafting. Probably some of them have done a lot of reflection and work. But we're putting a pause on all of that. We're going to vote down all of it so that we get the better system in place, and then all of the resolutions about platform amendments can go through that better process. And I think that process can get up and running pretty quickly. I mean, if there are amendments that really where there's a real groundswell of support within the party, then I would think that they could get onto a membership ballot, quite possibly by the end of this year. So that's what the a la carte caucus is about. I encourage members to vote for a la carte caucus members and try to get us as many seats in the convention as possible. So that's issue one. Issue two are the national committee elections, which are very, very important. And we have 5 seats this year. And unfortunately, we have less than 5 candidates at this point. So I can't say a whole lot about what we're going to do or what I need to decide, because at the moment I actually don't have anything specific to decide. I have in my written statement provided some criteria that I will apply if we do get above 5 candidates. I will say that I would like, as a positive way to start off the convention, to begin with some unanimous elections of NC candidates. Last year, when I was not serving as delegate, we had this weird situation where there was every single ballot for every single seat was fairly closely divided. There were just repeated factional votes splitting in similar ways, and it was pretty divisive and unfortunate. And then what made it worse was afterwards, a couple delegates made that I'm aware of, and maybe more that I'm not aware of, made the comment that, oh well, we actually agreed on some of the candidates, but our different blocks had been whipped in different sequences of voting. Well, that's not a great excuse for why there was that big of a display of disunity that day. So let's not do that again. And what I would like to see happen is we have 2 incumbent members, Lucy Moy of Michigan and Sarah Bork of Tennessee, who are running for re-election. Those are the only 2 who have announced for re-election at this point that I know of, and I think I know all of them. And they come from different wings of the party. They're both great members of the party. I think that they will provide comfort to, each of them individually provides comfort to a lot of different members of the party by having them on the NC. And so what I would like to see is to have each of them, Lucy first, because she's the chair, and then Sarah for the second seat, get elected unanimously as an agreement among the delegates at the beginning of the convention. I think that would be a great place to start. And then possibly we'll then have a rip-roaring competition over the other 3 seats. But at least we can start positively, and that would be a nice, I think that would be a nice thing to do for all of us. So those are my thoughts on the 2 big issues, which is not to belittle all the other issues, but just in the interest of not being redundant, I've put those in both my forum comments and also in my written statement. And I'm happy to answer any of your questions as well. My email address is in the written statement. Thank you very much. And again, I asked you to vote Everett DePangher on the top line of your ballot in this election.